Yeah, wow, the Mamba Unplugged.
Here we go.
How do we introduce our guests? What do we do? How can we do that?
I mean, you know what? We don't have all day. So let's just go. 5-time NBA champion.
Wow, 2-time gold medal Olympian.
And one of only 5 players in the history of the NBA to score over 30,000 career points.
It's pretty good, right? Pretty good.
Not shabby.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Kobe Bryant. Kobe, great to have you on campus as usual.
Thank you.
I hope you've had a good couple of days with us here.
Yeah, great couple. It's always fun to come up here, man. This is Hogwarts for me, so.
I hear you. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do a little something like the Actor Studio. We're gonna take you back to some places, and the goal of that show is to make you cry, so maybe it'll be over when you cry.
You guys already got me with that Show Us Again campaign. You guys got me with that one.
So let's start it like this. 1996. Storytelling 101, man. Tell us a story.
Honestly, I can't believe I'm actually about to share this right now. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. It's the biggest day of my life because that was the beginning of the journey of getting drafted. And I remember waking up in the morning and going, oh shit, I have a pimple on my nose, right in the middle of my nose. You can see it. You can see it. And I was like, oh shit. Like, are you serious? I've been waiting my entire life of whatever, 17 years for this moment. And I'm going through the entire day not thinking about where I'm going or the moment of being drafted because I'm worried about getting this damn pimple off my nose. Yeah, full disclosure.
I love it.
So as we look a little bit forward past that point, you look at a picture like this one, and we all know you've got 5 NBA championships, right? But the first 3, it's a streak, it was a dynasty. Mm-hmm. Tell us about what it was like playing in that time, and how do you feel that team, that era, compares to the all-time greats?
The era of basketball we won them in, you can't compare it to, the Lakers and the Celtics and those dynasties because I felt like the competition was so far superior than what we faced, in all honesty. I mean, Shaq was a physical specimen, and there was nobody in the league that can match him. So we had an unfair advantage from that standpoint once we got to the finals. That being said, it's very hard to have a team come together and figure out how to problem solve to the tune of 3 straight championships. It's very, very difficult to do. So, I look back on it having learned a lot about people and leadership, and it's funny that Shaq and I today are good friends. It's weird how that works out.
So then we began our relationship, right? And you've always been a polemic character, right? Your search for greatness, your quest for perfection, and we did this campaign.
Always hate my game, my swagger, hate my favorite, my hunger, hate that I'm unbearable, a champion. I hate that. I hate it with all your heart. I hate that I'm loved for the exact same reasons.
Talk to us about the genesis of that ad, man. Where you were at that time in your game.
Well, with my game, it was a time where I felt like I had to reassert my dominance on the game of basketball. So that summer, I was healthy and I trained like an absolute maniac. And so it was important that the track was reflective of that. But the biggest thing was the kind of the controversial nature of it, and why we wanted to do a black and white, shoot it really grainy with the Super 80 film, because I was coming right out of Colorado, and it was like, I'm a pariah, don't touch this guy, don't do anything with him, just kind of shelf him. And we created this ad, and then we came to Nike and we're like, hey, we should, let's run this thing. And the initial reaction was, it's a little too
Gritty.
yeah, I don't know if we want to do it. I mean, you had the word hate in the commercial. I said, well, growing up as an athlete, one of the things that drove me about the Nike brand is that they created ads and campaigns that moved you, that said something about the athlete, you know, and it was very important for me that this particular ad spoke to that moment and what I was going through at that time and what the messaging was coming out of it at that time. And I was very, very, very lucky that Nike decided to go ahead and run with it. And it was my favorite one until Show Us Again. That thing, that really, really messed me up. So.
We might get to that in a minute too.
So let's run the next one.
How much more do you want from me?
More.
How much more successful do you want me to be?
More successful.
How many records can my records break?
More records.
But I'm the best.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What the does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
You're welcome.
That was a great campaign. That was a great campaign. So again, whoa, wait.
There we go.
All right. So tell us about a little bit about what that campaign was about from your perspective, and really tell us what it was like to have your personality and Kanye's personality in the same room.
Well, we get along perfectly because, you know, how he approaches what he does is the same way I approach what I do in terms of, you know, the obsession with your craft and the passion with your craft. So when I talked to him about kind of doing a collaboration, you know, he was all for it. So we've been working together for a while. We're going to work together again on this Muse campaign too, which is going to be fun. But I enjoyed it. I mean, that day at that shoot, you know, Richard Branson was there, and which I felt was like really cool that all he said was, "I own a planet," which is like, like who does that? You know, you know, and Serena and Fitzgerald, and it was just a fun day to kind of be around all these athletes and kind of talk about what they do and how they do it.
So another thing to think about, so I've actually seen you on set. I was with you for the Give Me the Ball campaign. And I was struck, and I know a lot of other people are struck at how good you are, right? I mean, it's one take, two takes, you get it done, right? So one thing we were thinking about, how does he have such great acting skills? Where did this come from? Right? You're a great basketball player. Where did the great acting skills come from?
You know,
So I did a little research.
Might have an idea about where that started.
Oh, all right, well, let's see.
All right, let's do this.
Mo, can I talk to you for a second?
Oh, sure, sweetheart. What's up?
Look, Mo, it's about the SAT. I don't do well on big tests. I freeze up.
Look, if you don't do good this time, you can always take it the next time.
I'm a senior, Mo. This is next time. Look, if I don't bring 750, Temple's going to prop 48 my scholarship away.
Look, you will be fine. You've been studying hard. You just need to relax.
I need you to take this test for me.
I don't know what you said way up there, but by the time it got down here, it sounded like complete madness.
3 questions. 1, what was up with that?
Oh my God.
2, what's up with the kid in play shirt? And 3, that was your boo at the time, wasn't it?
Wow. I don't know what the hell was going on with the shirt, man. I don't know. All I can say is that was the genesis, and I learned a lot of great marketing things from mistakes. Honestly, I had a good time, though. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I can't act for shit, though. But it was fun.
Good experience.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to the game. Take it back to basketball.
We're going to torture you.
We've watched that over and over and over again at the office, by the way. So let's take it back here. So we've had a conversation recently when we were talking about some of the history of the shoes that you've done with us. And you actually have a very interesting nickname that you've dubbed this shoe. You want to give us that nickname and the story behind it?
Misery. It's misery. You know, that was the first reaction I had. We talked about doing a prelude pack for this upcoming campaign. And I look at that shoe, that's the first thing that comes to mind because the first thing I remember is how the Celtics just demolished us in Game 6. And that's something that's etched in my brain, and I won't let it go. And I remember that shoe. I remember just going to the locker room, taking that shoe off, and just throwing it against the wall, and just being absolutely livid and dejected. And so that's the first thing that comes to mind is that misery. And then from that, more determination was born from that. Because that night I was up all night, man, just staring outside, just staring. And I gotta come back. We gotta do this again. We gotta win. But I know it sucks kind of knowing the history of the game because you're like, well, I know that teams that make it to the finals and lose the next year, they don't go back. They don't go back. And I'm going in my mind, I'm like, you're not going to have any more chances. Like, you blew this. This was your chance to win without Shaq. Now he's laughing because, everybody's saying that you can't win without him. You can't get it done. Too selfish and all sorts of shit. So when I look at that, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Mm-hmm. Let's stay in the shoe game realm, but take you to a happier place. So yesterday, you saw that for the first time. Can you tell us how that felt? I can't even put it up. It's so down low. I can't put the shoe up. But
it's different. It's different. I always like to kind of push it a little bit, in design-wise and the inspiration. We really, really pushed it with this one. Really, really pushed it with this one, from the materials to to the frame of the shoe. Really, 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 really pushed it. I'm very, very pleased with it.
I think it's going to be fire, right?
Yeah, well, it's going to move you. It's going to move you one way or the other. You're going, what the hell? Yeah, that's going to be the first reaction across the board.
Okay.
Talking about
from the shoe game to the game.
Seriously, talking about moving people and talking about fire, especially. I mean, you talk about somebody who was on fire. Let's take a look at this.
And I think 3 consecutive 34 games. Kobe, we must get going. Joe McDonald here in for Joel. Some of the rookies, of course, at this point hitting the wall. The nights of the season the other night. In fact, his worst shooting night in a month. Here's Kobe off it in Milwaukee, then down in Houston. He's one of those guys that 57 straight.
43. He's up to 50.
Kobe missed to that, 8 in double-doubles. Double-doubles just about every night. Kobe is back in and up. Devin George guns it to him. Little backdoor. Kobe scores on the side.
So we got a long way to go.
The side story.
We got a long way to go here. So we're gonna let it play out, but tell us about this day, and especially tell us, you go in the locker room after scoring 81 points. What is on your mind, and how do you process that and go on with the rest of your life? Like, what is that about?
It's really just thinking about the next game, because we were really struggling prior to this game. We dropped a really big game against Houston, and my knee was really, really sore. So I knew going into this game, my jump shot had to be working. But after the game, I was really focused on just the next one and not allowing what happened on this game to really sit with me too long. In all honesty, I mean, if I really want to share with you guys what I was feeling without sounding crazy, which I probably will, but the hell, is that I wasn't surprised that I scored 81 points, to be honest with you, because I put the Love Me or Hate Me campaign, that was that summer that this season happened. And in this season, prior to 81, there were about 5 or 6 games where I had 60 3/4, 56 3/4, without playing the entire fourth quarter. That happened like 5 times before this one.
Right.
So I knew I was on the edge of, if the game happens where it's close in the fourth quarter, I could probably do something like this. So without sounding too crazy, I literally, I got to give you the training program first. I trained 8 hours a day, every day, throughout the course of the summer. 8 hours. 8 hours. That's 1,000 makes, 1,000 made shots per day. And those 1,000 makes are all moves that you are seeing here. Pull-up jumpers, the fadeaway, the footwork. It's all, 1,000 makes of those repetitions. So I'm missing You know, on a bad day, I'm missing 60, 70% of those. So the amount of shots and the repetition that I'm getting off that footwork, I can't say that I was genuinely surprised by it.
Wow. Still stuns us.
Let's go someplace else.
And I sound absolutely crazy, but it's true.
So you recently spent some time in my favorite country in the world, in Brazil, and I heard it was your first time there, but despite that fact, you knew everybody who was anybody in the world of sports in Brazil. From Ronaldinho, you spent time with Ronaldo, Anderson Silva, Junior Segano. What was that experience like? How did you enjoy Brazil? I know you saw a Brazil-Italy soccer match, which I know is another passion of yours, both Italy and soccer. What was that experience like for you?
It was a great experience. I mean, it was like that picture there, sitting with the Gaucho. That was awesome. But being in that environment, like I grew up watching a lot of those players, and Brazil was a place that's really moved me. And there was a lot of players and athletes that came from there that inspired me. And so to be going there and be a part of the culture and to kind of get a chance to learn how things are done there was really exciting. And then going to the Brazil-Italy match was like there couldn't have been a worse match to be a part of. It's like I'm sitting in the Brazil section, but I'm obviously like half Italian. It was kind of like, and then for whatever reason, I'm actually wearing blue. Just so happened I didn't think it through, and I'm standing in the Brazil section wearing blue, and I'm like, oh.
I heard you spent some time with Oscar Schmidt as well down there?
Yeah, Oscar, I used to call him La Bomba when I was a kid, because his ability to shoot threes, we used to call him bombs, he was just a phenomenal scorer. He used to play against my dad a lot, and I grew up idolizing him quite a bit.
Big shooter.
So then we go to this. This is your 5th championship, right? So this is actually a bit of redemption against the Celtics in and of itself. Talk to us about that feeling, and especially about the difference between the second set, the second chapters of championships for you, as compared to the first set.
This championship means the most to me because it was the hardest to get. So after game 2, when we lost, I remember driving home. Let me tell you, it was like an hour to drive home. I drove around for about 5 hours, just kind of thinking through everything. And then the really big moment was when we were flying out of LAX to go to Boston, and we're down 3-2. Or the series was tied at 2-2, and we're flying out, and Paul Pierce has just said, well, the series is not coming back to LA, we got 3 at home, blah, blah, blah. And we're on the plane, we're getting ready to go, and you see all the Celtics families loading onto their plane to fly back to Boston. And they're all giddy, they're all laughing, they're all excited, they're all, talking about what championship they're going to get. And I'm looking on the plane, and our reaction, the emotional space that we're in, is completely opposite from where they are. And I'm just sitting there just looking at them, just fuming, like, I can't wait to get to Boston to see you motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But it's like, it wasn't even, the players weren't even there, but it was their families. And I know my family is like, but seriously, because my family and my kids and stuff, they've seen that pain. They know what that feeling's like, and they're not having that emotion. And I'm like, this time they are not celebrating. After game 3, after game 4, you guys are going to be crushed. You guys are going to be the ones after game 5 that are going to be debating or contemplating whether or not you're going to win the championship. And this was the hardest one to get. And means the most.
Let's take you someplace else. So I know that you're a guy that's inspired by many things in the world, but the one thing that really surprised me was this. Like, that's you coming into shark-infested waters. What's up with your fascination with sharks, man? What's up?
I was at 8 bars on that trip too, man. We had a good time on that trip. I mean, it was, I don't know. I've always enjoyed sharks and their longevity and their sleekness. How they move, through the water. That's where the inspiration for the 2K4 came from, was just the great white shark. And yeah, I don't know, I do crazy stuff like that. On Monday, I'm actually going cage diving with great whites. So
We'll do it again.
Yeah, I'll take some good pictures of that. This time I'm going to be in the water with these great whites. Should be fun.
Good luck with that.
All right, I want to talk about this guy. You've had a pretty strong relationship with him, and would love to know what you learned, right? What was the nature of your relationship and what you learned from your relationship with Michael Jackson?
Actually, some of the things that I talked about a couple minutes ago, when I touched on the 81-point game and me not being really surprised by that. One of the first things that I asked him was, what was his approach like when he created Thriller? What was he thinking about when he created Thriller? He said, well, my goal was to sell 50 million albums. So how is that your goal in 1983 to sell 50 million albums? I mean, there's no social media. How you reaching all of these people? And he said his goal was to sell 50 million albums. And he walked through exactly how he went about creating that. And he believed that there was certain pitches in the notes and the music that can bring out certain emotions in people. And he felt the need to study that and try to perfect that. And so he can control the emotion that he's bringing out of an audience that's listening to his music and take them someplace else, not by accident, not by just creating a hit by chance, but by actually knowing how to evoke that type of emotion. And the other thing is he was reading a very, very good book, which he built this entire marketing campaign around. The Thriller album. It was called The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino.
Yep.
And that was a book that really inspired him to create Thriller and everything that went around it.
I'm going to move on to another relationship that I know is very meaningful in your life. If you could share with us a little bit about the impact that individual, Dr. Buss, had on you, your career, your life.
I mean, he had complete trust in a 17-year-old kid to come in and grow up. And, he gave me the freedom to be able to do that. And I always had an opportunity to talk to him and learn more about the business aspect of how he's been able to keep a franchise like the Lakers. I mean, they always seem to make the right decisions. Decisions that not only bring you a great product on the court, but also don't hamstring you financially. And he's been able to somehow do that. And he and I used to talk quite a bit about exactly how and, what his process is of evaluating talent, evaluating players, evaluating deals. And he's really, really helped me grow.
In early, mid-April, you had your Achilles injury. And a lot of us kind of shared the emotional impact of that. Those people who watched the game live or those people who caught the news on the ticker or when they were watching SportsCenter that night. Tell us about the emotional journey that you went on from the time that you went down to the time that you posted this amazing expression of how you felt. Like, tell us about that emotional journey from injury to the Facebook post that you had that night.
When I first did it, like right there, I'm trying to feel if the tendons, if it's there or if it's gone. And I realized it wasn't there. So I was literally trying to pull the tendon up.
Wow.
So hopefully I can walk, and kind of hobble through the last, 2.5 minutes of the game to try to play. And shot the free throws, walked back to the bench, and try to move around a little bit to try to see if there's a way. I knew it was torn, but is there a way I can kind of move around on the foot just a little bit, just to finish the game off, to be a decoy, to be a threat. And I tried, and I just felt the Achilles just continuing to kind of roll up my leg, and I said, I probably should go in the locker room. Then I went in, and the part that really sucks, I'm trying. So I saw my kids walking out. It was like, that was tough.
And we were all impacted by that, and you could imagine how many texts went out in the Nike family about what had just happened to you and how we would react. And we got together, a number of us, with the help of the agency, and because you're a member of our family, and we wanted to remind people how important a member of our family you are, and we put this out. And it was an open letter from Nike to a member of our family, Kobe Bryant, about what you mean to us and reminding people what you've meant to the game of basketball. How did you feel when you first read that?
Nike to me is, it's more than just, it's not a company to me, it's like family. You motherfucker.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I like it. Almost got me too.
So I mean, it meant more to me than just, it means more to me than just a company or a shoe. You know, it affects life. It affects how you live it. You know, it's a teacher of life, and you know, just do it. You know, means more than just getting out of bed and performing an action. It's, you know, it's having that Achilles tear and not knowing if you can come back from it. You know, then it's, you know, you gotta just do it because you want to set a great example for your kids.
Yeah.
So it means a lot more.
Hey, I think we should take the opportunity to allow some other members of the Nike family to ask some questions. I know there's a lot of people.
Yeah, please ask some other shit.
Before we need tissue out of here, let's move on. So, hey, can we have the first question? We have questions ready out here? Can we get some light on the question?
So you played with a ton of great players in your 18 years in the NBA. So my question is, of all the players that you either played with or against, what's the one person that you would pick as a teammate?
I played with, I'd say Derek Fisher, just because he has the attitude of a champion. That stuff's really hard to find, a person that has that kind of grit and that togetherness and that make no excuses, get it done by any means necessary sort of attitude. And he's been my favorite teammate of all time. You know, players that I've played against, I really enjoy to be you know, teammates with Jordan because I just feel like practices would be very interesting. You know, it's like you go to practice and you know
It's on.
oh yeah, you know it's on, and you know, that's really the fun of it, is going to practice every day and competing, and it makes you better. You know, when you have teammates that push you and stuff like that, and that would be really fun.
I have a question on the left.
How do you define greatness, and how does that guide you through life?
For me, greatness is continuing to improve, continuing to be better. I don't think there's an end point for greatness. I just don't think that exists. You know, I think it's a constant curiosity of trying to figure out ways to be better, ways to improve. And I think greatness is more of a mindset than it is an actual goal that you have reached. So that's how I define it, is continuing to find new ways to do things, continuing to challenge what's ordinary, or what people define as ordinary. That's what I think greatness is.
Let's go back over here.
Hey, Kobe, how you doing? Hey, I had a quick question. This is more of I guess more of a personal question. When it comes to seeing the way you play basketball and you see kids coming up and you see, you know, little ones coming up to you and they say, you know, I want to be like Kobe Bryant, what is the first thing you tell someone like that?
No. No, don't do it. I just try to tell them, first and foremost, find something that you are passionate about. Find something that you are passionate about. You know, that's, as parents, that's the one thing. You know, there's many others, but, you know, for our children, is you want to put them in positions where they can find something that they're passionate about and that they love to do. So I think it's important for kids to start there. And then from there, you know, once they find something that they're passionate about, they will naturally work hard. They'll naturally be curious about how to improve in those areas. And then from whatever they're doing, be it, I don't know, soccer, because my kids play soccer, you know, through that, they learn a myriad of life lessons, you know, from hard work to leadership to teamwork. And as parents, you're there to support that and kind of guide them along. So, you know, for kids that say that, that's how I would frame it up as.
Thank you, Kobe. I just asked that because my godsons are named after you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? There's this quote, by Jordan that says, he took so many shots and he's failed so many times, which is why he succeeds. And there's that famous clip of you, I think you were a rookie when you took those shots against the Jazz. Did that moment help to propel you to become the player that you are now? Like, did that help you to develop that Mamba mentality that you have?
In a sense, yeah. I see, but before those air balls, the mentality was already there because, I had the cojones to shoot them.
Yeah.
And not only did I feel like I had the cojones to shoot them, like I felt like I should be the one to shoot them. That was just my logic and reasoning, right? And then I failed miserably. Yeah. And then after that, when I get back home, I'm like, well, am I not clutch? Like, what the hell? What the hell happened? Right? Like in high school, I know different things. But in high school, I hit a lot of game winners. And, even though it's a different stage, yeah, but at the time, that high school was this stage for me. And I came through in those moments. So I started looking at, well, why were those shots short? I started breaking things down. I started looking at what I was doing in my physical training aspect. What was I doing? I'm coming from a season where I played 35 games max. Now I'm going to a season where I'm playing 110, 115 games. What am I doing? All the shots felt good. They were on line. I just didn't reach the basket. Mm-hmm. And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to start changing my training regimen and do a lot of weight training throughout the course of the year to get stronger as the year progresses. So that's how I was able to kind of think through that process and use it as an opportunity to grow as a player.
Thank you. Cool. Right. You have one over here.
Who do you think is better, Michael Jordan or yourself?
No, I mean, I will never say I'm better than Michael because in all honesty, he's taught me so many things by observation and also through conversation. I would never say that. I think it's a bit of an unbalanced comparison too because when he came in Chicago, he was able to do things individually that I didn't have the freedom to do coming to Los Angeles. So it's our career paths tracked differently. I came in playing a supporting role with Shaquille, which was like really hard for a person of my personality to do. That would be like asking Michael to do the same thing. It's very hard to do that. So our careers tracked on different paths, man. But I would never ever say that just because I learned so much from him. It's a non-conversation for me.
We have one more.
One more on this side.
One more question.
Well, thank you for being here today, Kobe. Hey, a question for you is, there's a wannabe superhero person on your Lakers squad last year who's no longer there and playing in Texas now. And just tell us a little bit about what kind of the season was like and if you've kind of got any red marks around that game coming up for this upcoming season.
I don't know if this is old age or whatever, but you get older, you're just like you don't have any filters.
You're amongst family, man. So
I can't help it. All right, whatever. When we met, kind of talk about free agency. He's a nice, fun-loving guy, And one of the things I said is, listen, you go out to dinner, and you're surrounded by a bunch of people, some of which you know, some of which you don't know, okay? And you're sitting across the table from a person who you know is friends with you. Would you rather have a friend that is not going to tell you have shit in between your teeth? Or would you rather have a friend that is not afraid of having that uncomfortable moment and tell you have shit in your teeth so you don't look like a fool in front of everybody else? He said, well, I'd rather have the person that is going to tell me I have shit in my teeth. I'll say, well, I'm telling you, you have shit in your teeth. So it's uncomfortable for a lot of people. Right? I mean, it's uncomfortable. So like you come into work, it's uncomfortable to have people that you know are going to challenge you and going to push you. No, that's not the way you do it. No, you're being lazy. No, get to work. You know, no, make no excuses. You got to demand more of yourself. It's uncomfortable to have that. And I think, you know, the perspectives of what he viewed winning to be and how I viewed it to be, the way to go about doing it were different. And that's why it just wasn't going to work.
Kobe, thank you. Really appreciate you taking the time, sharing with us your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, your memories, your emotions. Nike, give it up. Kobe Bryant.